Okay, and we're live. So in this video what I'll be doing is running through a reasonably common question, which is it possible on a spreadsheet to actually show the physical location of an excavator at a given shift or a given reporting period? So that's a handy reminder. So what I'm going to do firstly is I'm going to create a reporting period which is quite a bit more frequent, because this is commonly more likely to be something that this is requested on a, I might go daily just for the sake of making it nice and quick, and we'll go with start date, format, day, month, year. That'll do. So a daily reporting period which starts at 6 AM every day. That'll do. So I'll rerun my schedule because that's required to get for a new reporting period. And then I'm going to flick across and I'm going to use the new pivot table convert to spreadsheet functionality. Basically allows me to quickly mock up a daily spreadsheet for each piece of equipment. So I'm going to go across to pivot tables. I'm going to create a pivot table which is going to be equipment by day. It's going to be quite a large one, so I might limit it to the first few months. Source quantity, and then I'll drag the daily reporting period in here. So I've got a number of pieces of equipment here doing different things every day. So I'm going to name this daily, right click, convert to spreadsheet. It's telling me that because it's filtered I can't use the convert to spreadsheet function, and I need to remove out the null dates. So let's do that. Clearly I haven't used this functionality for this job before, so it doesn't want to actually allow that. I shouldn't have any null daily periods, to be honest, but the fact that I do means I'm just going to tighten up the tail end of my schedule just a little bit, because I don't actually need all these dates, and I will investigate that as a separate problem to solve. But basically what I want is make sure I've got no null reporting periods then for that particular tool. So I've still got some null happening there. What date is that happening on? And I'll just avoid that date for the time being. It's probably the first 6 hours of the schedule now that I think of it, because I made my dates start at 6 AM, which is not super smart. So let's go back to schedule, rerun. Basically I had a period for this particular report, this pivot table that didn't exist. So let's get past this. Regenerate, convert to spreadsheet. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to duplicate, or I'm going to add a line for each of these. I might switch back to this new function as well to make my theme a light theme for the spreadsheet. Let's just take this whole thing and make it a little bit easier to see. Might get rid of the dark theme altogether. Try this one again. Apologies for the slightly chaotic video here. And let's go back. Regenerate that spreadsheet with a light background. Brilliant. Okay, so I've got a nice long spreadsheet here. Basically what I want to do is I'm going to show you how within each of these periods you can see the first or the last task that was being worked on that date. So commonly what people want to do is see in the spreadsheet, they actually want to see the task that the equipment is on. Now that's a bit tricky with Spry, because it's possible that within a single reporting period you're actually on 3, 4, 5, 10 different tasks. Now, so for the purposes of this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how you can show the first and the last task. So I'm basically just going to take this whole section of the pivot table. I'm just going to do, might actually go by row rather than trying to do a drag there, it's a bit silly, and I'll just paste it here. And then I'm going to clear out these cells because that's not the values that I'm going to be doing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit here, and I'm going to show you, I should have cleared that row as well. I'm going to show you how to quickly build up the formula that I'm interested in. So the formula that I'm looking for here is, I'm going to use a schedule result, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to zip across somewhere where it's a little bit easier for me to build up a component of this formula. So I'm just going to fire up a separate expression editor. Actually, where I'm going to do it is I'm just going to pick a constraint. And this is just a cheeky way to get the builder, because what I'm looking for is the grouping expression that shows me the full text for each, this example, pit strip block seam bench. So I'm just going to create that to grab that text, jump back to my spreadsheet, and then in here what I'm going to do is, in the formula is going to go results, schedule result. The value here is this, but I'm going to make a change. So we're going to leave that for the time being. The filter, I'm just going to make sure that these are productive processes, because I don't want to show this for something that's non-productive, because that won't have a pit. And then what I'm going to do, set it to be safe. Now in here, in the builder at the moment, it actually doesn't like it for you to use text, but we're going to change the result of that in a second. And then in the reporting period, we're going to go with any reporting period, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to make one additional change. Now if you try to do this by itself, you're potentially going to get a complaint. It's not necessarily complaining right now for the blast. I'm also going to add the filter. So the process that I've got here, I'm going to put and then I'm going to put ampersand, and I'm going to put that. And basically that's going to link, I'm going to have this, it's productive and the equipment is the blast process. I'm going to link the date to this field up here. I'm going to lock the 1 component but not the C component. And then that means that when I drag this out and drag this down, you can start to see some values. However, you are going to have some complaints. And if you have a look at the expression errors, what it says is, okay, that's actually not, I forgot to lock the A component of that. But yeah, we're not quite done with this because we're going to have some issues. Now it's already showing us some areas, but I want to talk briefly about when it might have an issue. So it's going to work most of the time, and all of these tasks, it's basically only working one task in that given time. But I want to talk about where it's possible that it's actually landing on more than one task. So right now I'm using pit, strip, block, seam, and bench. What I want to do is actually add an additional function called ScheduleFirst or ScheduleLast. So in the expression editor, where you've got text SourcePit, text SourceStrip, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put a ScheduleFirst around each of those. And that'll just ensure that it's, if there's more than one task in that period, that it's going to return the first one. So you can guarantee that you're always going to get a result that's not complaining about there being a duplicate. So that's the final component to this, and I apologize. So that there, you'll see all these ones that have returned 0. They're actually returning 0 because of that issue. So, but now if I drag that out, you can see now I'm actually getting quite a bit more information. And the final thing that I can do is I can replace the 0 with, say, a minus symbol to make it just a tiny bit neater, and then take that formula. I'm not going to finish the job here. And that's basically it. So the reason why you pick something like the drill here, and if you don't put in the schedule first, and it returns a failed, actually it always will be the same pit, so if I pick a different bench. The reason why you get that is because you've got more than one potential option. And so what we do by setting it to be scheduled first is it's whatever the first task of that shift is. So the danger of this is that if you go to 2 different locations, then you are only going to be able to report out in here 1. You can't actually, there's no aggregation in here or any smart system to understand whether or not you should show the first, should show the last, should you show the record that has the highest value. These are not options that you'll have in here. What you want to do is pick, you'll basically, the thing is either pick the first or the last. You could put both in and then make a determination if they're different, how you want to deal with them, but generally just pick the first, and if there's movement within that day, you'll see it happen because the next day will be in a different location. So I'll pop that formula into the chat if it allows me to. Sometimes it gets complaints, so I'll just have to cut a little bit of that. But yeah, so that's the formula that I've got on screen. If you have any questions about how that works, let us know. Otherwise, I hope that was useful. Apologies, a bit of a long walk to get that drink. And yeah, have a good weekend.